I'm gonna do a live stream. Right, we should be going live on our platform, giving you guys value every week. And let me get back to sharing here. We're gonna go to our video. We're going over perception, will, imagination, reason, intuition, and how that has an effect on everything we do. I'm gonna start this video. We'll get started.
Get it. What did Napoleon Hill say? He says there's a difference between wishing for something and believing you can receive it. And he said the key is you've got to believe it. William James says believe, and your belief will create the fact. Well, you know, that's where it all starts. That's where it all starts. I don't care how simple it is. I don't care if it's just winning a sweater with a yo-yo. It could be writing the 5 million, or it could be doing what that man did in the boxcar. It works both ways. It has no ability to change the idea. Whatever you ask for, that's exactly what you get. Now, as you take the idea that you build, and you've got the ability to sit down and design any idea you want. You see, if you were going to decorate your room, you'd get an idea here in your mind of how you'd like that room decorated. And then you'd go and get the things that you needed, and you'd put them in place until you had built on the physical plane of life a replica of the picture you've got in here.
So there you go. It all goes back to building that image. And a little tip that I wrote down here was, if you have trouble building a desire, then the more specific you make it, like Bob could actually see the sweater that he was going to win, he could see himself with it. The more specific you make the image, the more the desire sets in, because the more real it seems to the subconscious mind. So we're actually going to have part 2 of the yo-yo story, the kind of sacrifices Bob had to make in order to win it, and then what happened afterwards as well. And like we said, you know, this is one of Bob's earliest memories of goal setting, and we can use this exact same process in order to achieve all the goals we can in our life. So yeah, I'm going to hand it back over to Bob, and yeah, it's all yours, Bob.
Thank you, Scott. God, you took me back a long time there. They were very early memories. You know, I have a gold card here with Nightingale's quote on the back of it, Earl Nightingale's. He said, this great dream, this surging, dynamic thing, invisible to all the world, except to the person who holds it, is responsible for every great advance of man. And it's so true. There's truly no end to what we can do. We are God's highest form of creation. Now, when you stop and think about it, if you put the screen up, Scott, you have perception, you've got the will, you've got imagination, you've got memory, you've got intuition, and you've got reason. These higher faculties are what separate you from all of the rest of the animal kingdom. They're absolutely phenomenal mental faculties we've got. We have those enable us to tap into all the power in the universe. If we were taught this when we're little children, and if you're not teaching it to your little children, you're really missing out. Get the little kids to understand this. Get the little kids to understand there's another way of looking at everything. Perception is such a beautiful thing. Let's look at it a different way. We'll look at something we really don't like. Well, you know, there's something in there that we could like. Let's change our perception. Let's shift and look at it from a totally different way. I remember Sandy Gallagher called me one time. She had her niece with her. And the niece, I don't know, was around 13, I think. And she was fighting with her mother. And I don't know what they were fighting about, but there was something going on. And Linda said, would you talk to her? And I said, sure. So I was talking to her, and I said, listen, something's going on, and you're both looking at it probably the wrong way. And I told her there's a faculty you've got, perception, and it's how you look at it. And you're looking at one way, and your mother's looking at another way, and you're upset because she's looking at another way. Give her the right to be wrong. Just understand she has a different point of view than you. You see, perception is our point of view. It determines where we're going to look. Now, we've got the will. I get on a plane, I might have told you this. Just the secret, I'd only been out for about 2 weeks. I get on a plane.
Let's go here now. Let's go to this perception and will. And see if I can pull that right up. And I can figure out how to use this. It's updated. Each and every one of us can change our perception. We can go anywhere. We can have anything that we want. But we've got to go there with our imagination. And we've got to be able to change the way we see things. We live in a physical world, physical reality. And the only thing that is holding us is the way we see things. Here we are living in the physical reality, physical world. And we could see the world in any manner that we want to. Why? Because we have the higher faculties. We can use these higher faculties, perception, will. We can change. We can change the way we see things. Will, imagination, memory, intuition, and reason. Now, we can use these higher faculties and we can go beyond. But if we don't change our perception, we stay more or less in the same place. You see, there's something happened with our perception. The perception that we came into. Something happened. We came on a frequency. And as we moved into that frequency would be the year you're born, the day, time, year, the year born. That's a frequency. That's also a genetic bloodline, father, mother. And whatever they were vibrating and thinking about during conception, the day before, hours before, moments before, everything that they were more vibrating and thinking about created the gene nodes and the gene that you moved into. That information is what you moved into. And as this vital life force, moves into this information, it begins to breathe life into it. This vital life force is called spirit. Your spirit moved into a body, it will move out. But as it moved into this information and it started to give life to that DNA. It started to give life to that DNA. You may say, well, yeah, I know that, but you don't. You know about it. You don't understand it. Not until you really understand it. And you don't get an understanding until you can go through it. Your vital life force started to give life to that DNA, and it operates on a frequency. So here it's building this body. This vital life force is breathing life into that DNA, and that's why that hand kept growing. That hand kept growing. That body kept growing because it was reading the code in the DNA. Vital life force is literally reading the code in the DNA, building the body. And it doesn't stop. At some age point, the body stops growing because that was the readout on the DNA, and that's how tall it got, how big it got. But it still does not stop reading. It's still reading the DNA so that the heart keeps pumping. It builds the same heart all over again. It builds the same liver. It builds the same kidneys. You're replacing your body. Every year you've got a full body, a whole new one. So that vital life force is still always reading. And it's reading the code. Now that vital life force not only reads that, it begins to read the environment. And it begins to read the environment. It's taking on all of their ideas. It arrived at the scene. And as it arrived at the scene, it began to take everything around it as truth. And as it began to arrive at the scene and saw the car, the house, the apartment, whatever it was, house, car, apartment, hospital, people surrounding it, it began to observe and download that code. Who a father is, or who a mother is, or we didn't have one or didn't have either one, all depending on the environment of what you're picking up. This vital life force begins to build that memory. And here's the thing. He begins to become the acting agent of the mind. But as it goes to its mind, it's going back to its perception. The perception is built from the memory in the past. So here we have this archive, literally an archive, that we reason with back and forth. We go to this memory box to see if what we think is possible for us. So you thought you were thinking all this time. You thought you were reasoning, using your will and focus. But if your will is all the images from the past, whose will have you been using? Will is your ability to select an image. Will, ability to choose. It's a choice. You select a memory, an image. So here, as you think or vibrate, you're going back to your memory box. The average individual goes back to their memory, see what's possible. They reason back and forth with their past. The intuition is simply prior memory. Their imagination doesn't go very far. It's limited. Not because they can't go further. They're afraid to go further. And they're stuck. How many of you have found yourself in a scene and you know that you're stuck? and yet you choose to stay there. Most amazing thing I've ever seen. You know you're stuck, and you do nothing about it. Why would somebody know that they're stuck and they don't want to change? Why is it that people do not want to look at the results? They know they're there, but they want to blame outside circumstances. This is completely normal. We watch it all the time. Here's a trick. You arrived at a scene, but here's what happened with the observer or spirit. Spirit arrived and saw. So he sowed. This created the perception. Now, the seer, which is here now, the seer is never the seen. The seer is never the seen. And the seen, this is the scene, right? Outside circumstances. I'm using this in two ways. The scene as a scenario, people, places, plots, circumstances, conditions. That's the scene. The people, places, plots, circumstances, conditions that you live in are not an accident. They are not accidents. Right on time, right on purpose, and perfection for the seer that's seen, that saw, that sowed. The seen is never the seer, and the seer can never be the seen. Why? The seer is truly not what he saw, because at its highest point, and this is going to blow your mind, you're probably going to want to rewind this and go back to it and watch it over and over again. What separated us from the animal kingdom and separated us and separates man today, still today, this energy that sets one man to the next, is the way he views the world, the way he views himself. The seer is never the seen, because the true seer, higher consciousness that's up here, becomes aware at different points of your life. This is the wave, and down here is the particle. You become aware at different points of this area, but more than often, yes, you stay aware here, but that's not who you are. The seer is not the seen. The seen is not the seer. The seer became what he saw. The seer, what we call consciousness down here, or your consciousness, is not creating the scene. It's what you saw. So we take this back out of here. The observer, the seer as you know it, is not the seer when he's operating with prior memory. So then this seer keeps using his prior memory to create the scene. When you can awaken and become aware that everything you saw is what you used to think, maybe you'll stop doing it and stop repeating the same lessons over and over again. You're probably going to have to go back and rewind this to get a better understanding of it over and over again. The scenes that you see, the people, the places, the plots, and the circumstances that you see around you are right on purpose and right on plan with the observer, the seer. But that's not him. It is the prior memory that's seeing. That's why I say seeing is believing. Because you're normally seeing through what you saw. This is true seeing with the mind's eye. That's why people today are still proving that there's a higher force in man, a higher force, and he can tap into this infinite field and download more information, more memory, new memory beyond what's known down here. People don't get stuck by accident. They get stuck because they don't know who they are. They keep thinking that they're the memory from where they moved into. You might want to get a picture of that. You probably want to rewind this over and over again and watch it over and over again, because this is your whole life. We don't think as I am, we think as we are. You ever heard that? Because the we is all that prior memory that you moved into at birth. You moved into memory. The seer is not the seen, and the seen is not the seer. Why? Because it's actually prior memory. When you can get this concept right, your whole world will change. We're given this information, we're teaching these lessons every day. We're going to say this 10,000 times, 10,000 different ways all year round. We're going to illustrate this in so many different ways until you get a better understanding of who you are and you begin to change yourself. We've been studying this material for years, and I've been developing these processes for years to help advanced people go beyond who they are, what they are at the moment. Everyone will get stuck. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are or how poor you are. Everybody gets stuck. And what we're getting stuck in is pre-conditioned memory, coding. Now you can get stuck from the memory of the environment you moved into, or you can literally get stuck from the memory in the bloodline. Blood carries memory. It's a carrier of memory. So yes, you can literally be picking up information from the genetic pool, a frequency, a vibration. And that puts you on right out here to experience the life that you're experiencing. Attraction, vibration, attraction, resonance. You can never get away from yourself. So many people want change, but they don't want to change themselves. It's you that has to change. You are a living, vibrating, molecular machine, spiritual, biofield, chemical, and you're literally pulsating a vibration out, and you are literally attracting a frequency back. And this is your outer world. If you want to change, we can take you there. You want to get started? You want to start off by subscribing? We're teaching lessons every day in our subscription page on Facebook. I'll put that on here. $4.99 a month, and you can start developing yourself, learning how to change. Through a subscription as well, you'll be with a community of people that are developing themselves, and as well as I do an intervention technique. We're teaching biohacking, the vital life force, so you begin to become aware when you're off track, when you're on the wrong frequency, when you're vibrating with the wrong idea. You can directly enter into one of our programs, Scaling for Life, Monday through Friday, and we have our programs on Saturdays, and we have some during the week for some of you guys that are really ready to take things to the next level as well. So wherever you're at, whatever part of the world you're at, take a look at what we're doing and decide. How many times have you taken a look at things and you don't make a decision? Remember, will and your ability to choose, freedom was given to you. Free will. But that also means freedom to choose to change or you'll choose to stay the same. That's true freedom. You choose whether you change or you stay the same. And every lesson that you do not learn and unlearn, you repeat the rest of your life. That's why people stay in the same places, doing the same jobs, doing the same things year after year, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. The choice is yours. But when you're ready, there's a place. We're out of time. Thank you guys. And everybody have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Have a wonderful